What if writing AI prompts was actually slowing you down? See, most people open Claude, they give it a prompt, they wait, then they review it, and then they start all over again. But let's face it, half the time you actually are getting super generic answers. So what you do is you keep on prompting it until you finally get what you were looking for. And then the next day, you do the whole thing from scratch again. And see, the people crushing it right now with AI, they're shipping brand new mini apps and AI artifacts every single week without prompting it the old-fashioned way. What they're doing is that they're actually building repeatable workflows that run the same every time. So what they're doing is that they're simply reusing what worked for them, and then they let Claude handle all the repetitive parts automatically. So all they have to do is simply show up to build their AI artifacts or mini apps. But here's the thing, we've been told that we need to build AI agents, and that's just not the way to do it. Barry Zhang, an Anthropic engineer, actually recently gave a talk and said quite the opposite. If your steps are predictable, do not use agents. Use instead a workflow because it's going to beat an agent every single time. It's also cheaper, faster, and way more reliable. So agents are more for ambiguous tasks, and building AI artifacts or mini apps or digital products is just simply not one of them. It's way more straightforward. So in this video, I'm going to give you 4 Claude phrases that are going to help you turn your messy one-off prompting into an efficient, repeatable workflow so you can ship functional AI artifacts and mini apps faster than you ever thought was possible. So step 1, you know you want to build something and you open Claude, you ask it a few questions, and then the output is just garbage. So what you actually need is to ask Claude to act like a strategist. You need to ask it to act like someone who helps you plan before you build anything. And the best way to do that is to type interview me. So here's why this matters. When you're building anything, Claude has to make a dozen of decisions. If you don't give it any specifics, it's going to fill every gap with something safe, something generic, and it's going to make a lot of assumptions that don't apply to what you're actually trying to build. So the results ends up being blah. So the gap between something generic and something great is simply more specifications. So when you simply type interview me, Claude is going to stop making things up and it's going to start asking you the right questions instead. See, most people skip this completely and jump straight into building. So what they do is that they give Claude a vague idea and then obviously they get a very generic product back. And then they wonder why their customers are confused and perhaps not even purchasing from them. So I want you to sit with each questions that Claude is giving you. I want you to also answer them fully. And within 5 minutes, you're going to have a spec that's going to be ready to paste either directly into Lovable or Claude Code. So one small hack for this step, you can actually also answer out loud using apps like Whisperflow or Typeless, because essentially what you can do is you can speak directly to your computer and it's going to help you answer much faster. And obviously you're going to have richer answers than when you're simply typing, because you're going to include details that you didn't necessarily know that mattered, but when you speak them out loud, it's just simply easier to add all these details. So essentially the more context you give Claude, the stronger your build is going to be. So at this point, you have a spec from your interview me session. But if you're still doing everything inside one Claude chat, you're actually corrupting your own output. So let me explain. Boris Cherny, the creator of Claude Code, he actually talks about running multiple Claude sessions at the same time, and each focused on one different task. And this actually matters because when you research and brainstorm inside the same chat, Claude starts actually anchoring on what it already said. And so your brainstorm is no longer fresh. It's simply a continuation of everything that you already typed. So you're not getting a new angle, you're getting more of the same thinking. And so that's what sub-agents fix, because each one starts with something clean and it doesn't have memory of the other. And there's no shared assumptions. Simply fresh output from a completely new angle. So here's how you actually use this. You're going to have the first agent, which is going to be your research Reddit agent. And it's going to help you scrape the exact language that your audience is using to describe their specific problem. So it's not going to do interpretation of their pain. It's going to use their actual words that they use at 11 p.m. when nobody's watching, right? So that level of detail is what actually makes positioning feel real instead of generic. And that's what's going to help you have a better output. Then you're going to have a second agent. It's going to be your idea ranking agent. It's going to look at your niche, your audience, your core problems, and it's going to help you rank 5 mini app ideas by ease of build and income potential. So you're going to have that running while you have agent 1 still pulling in data. Then you're going to have agent 3, which is going to help you do the build prep. It's going to take the idea from your interviewee and it's going to start drafting the vibe coding prompt, and you're going to paste that either on Lovable or Claude Code, whichever is your preference. And you can have all 3 of these sub agents running at the same time, because essentially they run with no awareness of each other. So the outputs are going to be cleaner. So you're going to have 3 angles on your idea, not 3 different variations of the same answer. And so what's great about this is that if they all 3 land on the same core problem, then you know that that idea has a real good opportunity in the marketplace. So one rule, be specific about each agent and make sure that they know exactly what they're doing, because generic instructions is going to be completely useless, right? And it's going to give you useless results. So make sure that when you're writing the task, think of it like a job posting, right? You wouldn't hire somebody without telling them exactly what they're responsible for. So what you're gonna write every time that you launch a new sub-agent, and here's a specific example of what that would look like. So the first sub-agent could be a Reddit sub-agent. You would tell that it's a qualitative researcher and its job is not to summarize or interpret. Its job is to find the exact words that real people use when they're frustrated, stuck, or searching for a solution on the specific niche, and then resurface them verbatim. So that level of detail is what separates useful output from something that's completely garbage. After a few builds using the first 2 phrases, you're gonna start noticing something. So you're gonna start noticing the same research structure, the same spec format, the same prompt handed to Lovable every time, or Claude Code, but you're still rebuilding the same workflow manually each time. So phrase 3 is gonna help you fix that. So after you have any successful build or any prompt that's successful, you're gonna type, based on this conversation, build me a skill. And what Claude is going to do here, it's gonna package everything you just did into a reusable set of instruction that it can call automatically next time, so you don't have to retype everything from scratch. So one rule of thumb, never build a skill from a very abstract idea, right? Don't actually sit down and ask Claude, what skill should I create? Because you're gonna see you're gonna end up going in circles or build something that you're simply never gonna use. You need to build it from a conversation, a prompt that already worked. Like, you know that moment when Claude finally gave you exactly what you wanted? So that's when you ask it to turn that into a skill. And don't let Claude by any means invent a skill for you. You need to pull it from a real conversation where it already got it right. And once you have the skill, every time that you catch something off, tell Claude to help you QA, verify it, and ask it to update it. Because the thing that happens is that a weird output or a step that needed more context or something that simply didn't land, you need to fix it and lock it in. Because essentially the more you use it and refine it, the sharper it's going to get. So that's how a skill can go from passable on day 1 to reliable by week 4. Now, before you run the skill on every product or every build that you do, I'm gonna give you one safety rule. Because Claude has a tendency to tell you a task is complete when in reality it isn't. And it's gonna also end up filling the gaps confidently. It starts hallucinating on you. So if you notice that your skill has a flaw, make sure that you fix it, because otherwise you're gonna end up scaling the mistake. So this actually brings me to the next phrase, QA my work. So before you turn anything into a skill, you need to verify it first. And this is a step that most people completely skip. So here's a problem with Claude that nobody talks about. It just has a tendency to tell you that something is done when it really isn't. And it also fills in the gaps. It makes assumptions and makes things up. So if you package up a broken workflow into a skill and start running it every single build, you're not saving time. You're gonna be scaling something that's broken. And so QA my work, that's gonna help you prevent that. Because after Claude produces any draft or output, and it's something that you're thinking into turning a skill, I recommend that you ask it to score actually every section, every decision, tell it to give it a score, and tell you exactly what's holding it back from being 100. So here's a rule. If the score comes back below 95, do not build a skill yet, right? Try to optimize it. Work with Claude to fix what's broken first and ask it specifically what made the score dropped, and then have it rework those sections and then score it again and repeat that process until you're 95 or above. And only then do you package that conversation into a skill. And one more thing, if Claude finds mistakes during this process, don't just fix the output. Make sure that you ask Claude to also update your MD file to reflect what went wrong. So the MD file is what becomes your skills. And so that way, the fix gets baked into every future build automatically, not just this one. So before Claude executes anything inside a skill, make sure it gives you a full verification plan. Make sure you understand what it's going to do, how it's going to check its own work, and then understanding what it's flagging. You want to have a full picture of what didn't work. And that's what's going to help make your skills bulletproof. So I just gave you 4 phrases, 1 system. So you have interview me. So you can have your expertise become your build-ready spec in simply 5 minutes. You have your launch sub-agents. This is going to help you with research, brainstorm, and a build run at the same time with independent outputs. Then you have build me a skill and QA my work. The entire workflow becomes repeatable without you scaling mistakes into it. So the difference between somebody shipping 1 mini app per month versus somebody shipping several AI artifacts per week, it's not talent or audience size. It's whether they have a process that runs the same way every single time. So if you want to see a real case study on how my student Basia use this exact system to make her first $10,000 online, go watch that video next. And simply drop a comment to let me know which of these phrases you started to use and what kind of output you got. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.